You got a rat in your pocket or something? Who are you talking about? Our lack of willingness to work. You and that rat in your pocket?
Well, what are you working on right now?
I'll tell you what.
What are you working on right
sitting
now?
in the line at Lumina.
Yeah, I am
Hot
in here.
coffee in the middle of the
Sworn
day.
off Lumina.
Are
I'm
you
in here
working?
5 days a week doing something while you up there twiddling your thumbs. You need to be working more.
Hey, look, I've got all kinds of advice for y'all today. I hope y'all titled this, Chad Wright was a Navy SEAL and he knows everything.
That's exactly what we titled it.
Okay, I didn't even know y'all
No, it
titled it
ain't.
that. Because I've got so much advice for y'all
Let's
today.
put your teapot under the shade tree or something.
Yeah.
You're a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
Shield's
well, that's
a little
what
bit.
everybody thought.
Shield's a little bit too. Well, yeah, we saw it today. You weren't no shield.
Yeah, no,
he's no
everybody thought I was a Navy SEAL. I was actually a Navy SEAL Tier 0. All right, this is the first time I'm not even supposed to announce that. I signed a NDA saying I would never tell anybody that I was that, but I'm tired of it. I'm breaking free from the paperwork.
Well, why would you?
It's time to come clean.
Why'd you let me be your teammate today?
Don't act like you weren't on the shields too.
You're in the space. You're in the space force, aren't you?
Yeah, man. This is what happens to every company, everybody out there. This is what happens.
No, it's not.
You start off, you're
Every
daggone hungry. You look. You got no choice but to figure out what you can do, and you know what you do. You do what you can do. You hustle. You're hungry.
Grind.
You do what you can do,
Hustle
man.
and grind.
Right. Well, then you because of that, you experience a little success, and then over the course of a little time, you start to get a little too fat, and then all of a sudden you get to a level where you're not as hungry anymore, and you also have this mindset that everything has to be perfect. And it's funny that you get into this mindset that everything all of a sudden has to be perfect, because what got you there was actually what's perfect. It was imperfect in terms of, whatever. For us, the camera we used, or the editing, or the film quality, or whatever. There was all kinds of mistakes in it, but it was actually the perfect product, because that's what got you there.
I disagree.
I disagree completely with that.
Well, disagree. We wanted to make it perfect then. Our ability to make it perfect, we did as good as we could do, but now we can do so much better, and
so
we want to do as good as we
I'm
can.
not just talking about this in terms of us. I'm talking about this in terms of everyone.
said.
No, you're talking about
success.
You said this happens to every business.
Yeah, success will eventually paralyze you. All right?
It's not paralyzing any of it.
It'll move you away from your true gift, and it will paralyze you. I talked to a guy the other day that this is just a kind of a similar example. Have all you guys heard of Mr. Beast on YouTube?
Yeah.
He's supposed to have the largest YouTube channel. I've never seen any of his stuff before. But I was talking to one of the producers that helps him produce his show, and he said, I came in to this show and I realized how much waste there was. He was telling me all these stories of where they would go and book, like they would spend like $100,000 to book an entire arena, and then they would start planning the show out and realize they didn't even need the arena. He was talking about how there's just so much waste, and he started talking about how can we clean this up? How can we make this more efficient? How can we cut out this waste? And he realizes that if he injected that opinion, that if he injected that into that culture, that it would no longer be what it actually is. He was like, it's that mindset of we don't give a crap about pinching pennies or trying to do things the most efficient way no. The reason that he got so big is because he didn't care about any of that crap.
Why don't you go?
And he just kept going.
Why don't you go listen to actual podcasts with Mr. Beast and watch some of his videos and watch him talk about the early days and how he literally was the most meticulous perfectionist you've ever seen, and wrote full testimonials and a full downloadable, researchable guide to how to start a YouTube channel perfectly down to the brightness of the thumbnail. Why don't you read about that? That's who you're talking about.
Hey, that's
I'm just
awesome.
saying, you've got something in your mind that you like this angle you're taking with this, and it feels right and it feels good because you can pinpoint the problem that you think we're or anybody else is experiencing, and it's wrong. It's completely and utterly wrong.
You guys,
so you try
guys
to
will get there one day.
So you fit it into that cone as much as you can, and now you're mashing the top of it, and it's spilling out going, well, this is actually incorrect.
I'm telling you right now.
Literally.
Don't forget.
Why go past what Blake said earlier? We have the capability to do better than we used to, so that's what we're trying to do. Back then, when it wasn't perfect, we were trying as hard as we could to make it what it was. Now we're doing the same thing, and you don't like that.
Well, it's because that ultimately paralyzes you.
Who's paralyzed?
That's the point. It's like when you get to that level where you think every new thing that you do, and again, this isn't just for us. This is for anyone out there. When you get to that level, even with ultra running or with other types of businesses, when you get to this level where you have this cushion, and all of a sudden you think that every new thing you do has to be done to this perfect level or this perfect standard, you won't do anything.
Do you think that way now?
What do you mean?
Like that way you're talking about?
What? No, I don't think like that at all.
I think it's a personality thing. I don't think it's a success thing. Because you never think that way.
No, I don't think that.
And I've thought that way since we've started.
I think that moving is always better than standing still. Like moving, even if it's an imperfect movement.
Yeah.
Like, but that's not what you're saying.
Moving in a direction. But what I'm saying is a lot of times the whole idea of you have to have this perfect before you move, that will keep you from moving. Like, that's what I'm trying to say here.
I don't know if you're trying to talk about this in the context of what we're doing or if you're just sharing this.
I think it can apply to a broad range of people.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that could be the case.
I don't know. I don't know how there wouldn't be other people listening to this, looking at some aspect of their life, and they're saying, "Why haven't I started this thing yet?"
Yeah.
Well, it's because I'm not perfect at it, and that's why you haven't started it yet.
Yeah.
And you fall more into that trap the further you get along than when you first start, because when you first start, you don't have any. Well, if you're gonna start, you just got to start, right? But like, I know, as a matter of fact, we just had a student on the basic course this past weekend that talked about this whole, he had all this stuff listed out, for his ministry, essentially. It's like, you don't start because you don't feel qualified to make it as perfect as you imagine it to be. So you never freaking start, man. And it's just like, you got to move. You literally just have to move in a direction. Now, the direction has to make sense, has to fit within your skills and your abilities. But it's always better to move than to be paralyzed by this idea that it needs to be perfect.
You're such a politician, dude. You've got to run for governor, because what just happened was he was saying this out of frustration with what we have going on, and now because we called that out, he spun it to this general advice that does work for people who are in that specific position to make it seem like he was right the entire time.
That's what he said in the first place.
Even though we were calling out what he originally said.
He's a master manipulator.
That's called the spin cycle.
So everything that I say on the podcast is meant to be for the general, everyone listening, right? If I wanted to hash out specifics of our, business and what we're doing, we would do that privately in a meeting. Everything is meant for the general benefit of all of our listeners, right?
Let me give you an insight into what's coming next, because he also did that to lay the groundwork for our blunder this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I'm going racing this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you guys are doing this weekend.
This past weekend. Nitwit.
Oh, this past weekend.
What do you think, Corn?
That's where I thought he was going with it.
That's exactly where he was going with it.
I thought he was going with
No, but I mean, I really wasn't going there. But now that you guys teed me up, it is actually the perfect segue.
What do you think about all that he just spewed out?
I understand, like, my personality is sort of the same as what he was saying, like, get started with it, which is ironic that he said that, because you remember that bike ride we went on and my tire went flat and we couldn't get my pump to work, and he got really ticked off. Yeah. And I was like, well, man, I just got to figure it out. And he's like, you figure this kind of stuff out before you get started. He said, and then he said, if I want to know anything about a rock crusher, I'll ask you. If you want to know something about a bike, you ask me. That's sort of the opposite of what you. But
of course it is.
Listen,
he's literally the male version of Mark.
Absolutely does.
Listen, he was a Navy SEAL and he knows everything.
Y'all learned that lesson last weekend.
He knows everything.
You're sitting here bucking me, man.
He's the male version of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
When he says something's right, it's right until it ain't, and then he's right when he changes it.
Yeah. I'm even right when I'm wrong.
I think there's advantages and disadvantages to both.
So that's what I was going to say, too, just to kind of flesh this whole idea out. It is good to have people on the team that are perfectionists.
Yeah.
It really is. And, I mean, it's going to – but because I think the two work together, right? You have to have somebody that's saying, no, let's go. And then you have to have somebody saying, no, we're not ready. And then those two have to pull back and forth, and eventually it meets somewhere in the middle where you're about half ready, and you go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I also like the people that hate the word balance the most are usually the people that try to, in a roundabout way, say that that's what you need. Because that's what you're saying we need. And not even as a team, it doesn't need to be two extremes pull each other to the middle. It needs to be everybody, if they could, working towards, if you're a perfectionist, being a little bit off of that. Like, golly, it ain't got to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. And the people who are like bent the way of just start need to go, I need to learn a little bit of patience and say, if I'm not ready at all, let me just hold on a second and get ready
about it.
It's painful for both parties on either end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
It's a painful thing for both parties, for sure.
Good night.
But you do need both.
Yeah.
What a good callback, Corn. Good callback to that bike ride.
Oh, yeah.
The elephant never forgets.
So that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
No, it's the exact same thing.
That's simple. That's simple preparation in terms of skill set. It's just like this morning. You didn't even know how to put a freaking rifle together, man.
And comparatively so, you can't wait to learn to run a rock crusher. You got to run that thing when it shows up. Like, you don't get to wait to learn. Why would you wait to learn your bicycle pump? You're only going to use the dang thing when the tar's flat. What kind of idiot makes his tar flat and then pumps it up with the pump?
So that literally makes no sense.
Chili
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It literally makes no sense in my mind.
I'm gonna clip that. It makes so much sense. I'm gonna clip it.
My mind is not grasping or picking up what you're putting down right now.
Yeah. Wait, you want to learn to do something? It doesn't have to be like you're talking the same thing. It's in life in general. If you want to learn to do something, you're talking about just going ahead and getting started.
Just get busy.
Just do it. Just hop on whatever it is and go for it.
Don't even check the tires if they're flat before you start. Just get on them.
Yeah. Well, I don't agree with that, but that is something like I do. You know what I mean?
Like I do.
Yeah. But yeah, it is exactly the same thing.
Well, I'm starting to see more now how what you're saying is applying to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it ain't right until he sees it.
That's the same thing.
My brain's starting to pick up on it a little bit now that you slowed it down and explained it properly.
Plan your dive your plan.
Chili picked right up on it.
I'll tell you what, since there's so much contention around this topic, we do need to take this topic to Paris James and get the thumbs up or thumbs down. All right, Paris James. Thumbs up or thumbs down, you should wait till things are perfect to start.
I'll give that a thumbs down, too.
Thumbs down.
I agree.
Well, yeah, I agree with that.
Paris James just nailed it down. Just go.
Chad's new saying is ditch the plan and dive. Yeah. Screw the plan, just dive.
That's right.
Put it on a shirt. Just dive.
Do not let your success paralyze you or bring you to the point that you think everything has to be put out perfectly, because that's not how you got where you got.
No, but you did it as you did it as perfectly as you could. It just wasn't as perfectly as you can do it now.
Yeah. Well, anytime you're starting something new, you go back to that.
Well, hey, let's do it. I'll get my old camera out that won't focus and won't film over 10 minutes. And
I don't know why you keep applying this to your own circumstances.
Because that's why you're talking about it.
Let's teach him a lesson. You can teach this lesson easy. I mean, really, you can.
Do you really think that you are anywhere close to being qualified to teaching me a lesson?
You kind of did overstep it there, you know.
Did you not see what this podcast is titled?
Actually, I did.
Wow.
And as a matter of fact, we will, and we will teach you a lesson about what you're saying. We will in the next 2 weeks. I know a good way to do it.
The next 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I don't know if I'm ready for that, man.
It's not hard either. It'll be real simple.
All right. Well, we're going to get into this thing that we've done. I have given you that huge piece of value right off the rip. All right? So you're welcome, listeners. This particular episode is brought to you by our partners at Barbell Apparel. You guys know we have been with Barbell for quite a while. You can check them out at barbellapparel.com. They have the new Ultra shorts out, which is a running-specific short. I've been wearing those quite extensively over the last probably about a month and a half since our trail race at Sloppy Floyd. Really great pair of running shorts with the features that you need and nothing extra, and which is good because you start piling a bunch of extra crap on a pair of shorts and they get heavy and cumbersome real quick. They have a really unique pair of jeans that they make out of a special fabric that is durable and looks like denim, but it stretches and moves with your body. They have Blake's got the ultralight tech tee on today, which is a nice lightweight layer for summertime, especially. It dries easily, keeps you cool, and doesn't fall stinking like the old, Under Armour technical fabric that we used to wear in the SHIELD teams. So Barbell Apparel, they have been awesome partners.
We have every piece of gear. Corn's got the hat. He's got the Phantom shorts. I've got the Ranger shorts.
Blake's got these heavy. What's the heavy ones called?
Adapt.
The Adapt
shorts.
Yeah, that's more of like a range short.
We
or
had jeans at the range. You got the shirt.
So y'all check them out at barbellapparel.com, man. If you're getting ready to update your threads, they're gonna have a bunch of stuff you're gonna be needing over there. Thank you, Barbell, for being such an amazing partner and for being a part of making these podcasts happen. It means a lot to us. The other big announcement that we have is for our Patreon members. My man Chidley had such a wonderful idea of how we as a team can contribute to Patreon and give back to our Patreon members that support us here at 307 Project. And that is every Monday. We are going to do a extra show after Monday meeting. It's going to be called the 3 of 7 Comms Check, and it's an extra show. It will be videoed, so you'll get video and audio posted right there on the Patreon platform, where we're going to bring to you guys our kind of, I guess you would say, our lessons that we're learning along the way in life, and any other stories that we want to share that we think would be valuable with you to help you along in your journey. So that's the 3 of 7 Comms Check. That's going to be Mondays on Patreon, and we will be recording that and posting that just after Monday meeting. So I'm really pumped about that, man, to make that as a time for our patrons to really sit down and have some intentional conversation. So if you're not on Patreon, you can check us out. There'll be a link in the description of this episode. You can click it, and it'll take you right to our Patreon page. It's as simple as signing up and downloading the app, and it's like a private social media feed where you actually, don't have to worry about scrolling through it and seeing a bunch of crap that you probably don't want to see and that you probably shouldn't see.
Good gosh.
So that is the 3 of 7 Comms Check on Patreon starting this Monday. I'm pumped about that. Thank you for that, Chili. It's a wonderful idea. Y'all ready for the next piece of advice? I told y'all I was gonna give you guys some marriage advice today.
Send it.
Y'all ready for that? Yeah. Now, has anybody had any struggles in their marriage yet?
Yeah.
Have you, Cornbread?
You
ain't never had no struggle in your marriage?
What do you mean yet?
Well, just up to this point, have you ever had any struggles in your marriage?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
have. You, Chili?
No.
Yeah, Chili might be.
Well, he's fresh. He's fresh, man.
Yeah.
Marriage is one of the most difficult things that you will endeavor to do in life if you want to do it right. I imagine it's pretty easy if you just kind of do it wrong and then give up on it after a while. But if you want to do it right, it does take work. It's a challenge, and it is, I believe, for me personally, the number one opportunity for me to become or practice selflessness towards another individual who the Lord has made for me to spend this life with. And I was thinking out on the basic course this past weekend, the main thing I thought about was how important my wife is to me. And she's really important, the most important person in my life. She's not only my wife, but she's my best friend. Many times she serves as my counselor. She always gives me good advice when she speaks. She emulates what the Bible describes as a godly woman. And so I really appreciate that. And I realize that I have not been actually doing anything to, express how important she is to me. I might tell her that, every now and then, but she doesn't really get a lot from just telling her like, hey, you're beautiful, or it's hard for her to receive that, right?
Saying like, I'm your lover boy.
Little lover boy. Yeah, I'm her little lover boy, That
doesn't really do it for her, telling her
No,
that.
it doesn't really. It just kind of makes her uncomfortable.
I figured that'd do it for her.
I was out on the basic course this weekend thinking about all that, and then I started racking my brain, and I was like, well, knowing what I know about my wife and the things that she appreciates, what could I do to show her how important she is to me? Have y'all ever had that thought?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, have you implemented some things, Cornbread, in your marriage?
Normally mine would be monetary things.
Okay.
Yep. I bought her a little trade day pit yesterday.
Okay.
A little dog from trade day.
That's good, man. Yeah. And that's another thing. You have to understand what it is that your wife can receive.
Oh yeah.
In terms of showing her love, you have to understand that. So for Ann, it's gifts.
Yeah. Right.
Man.
Yeah.
I wish that was Brooks.
Well, I'll have to admit it's easy on my part just to buy something.
It is, man.
Be like, here you go.
It's good to be married to a woman that can appreciate a gift, as long as that gift doesn't have to be a diamond.
Right.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing, man.
You're a shed.
Do you try to do that? Like, do you try to be conscious of that in terms of like, do you have a schedule for that, or you try to do it once a week or month?
No, it's probably few and far between. I know she likes little pit bull dogs. You know what I mean?
So you buy her one every few years.
And she'd been talking about getting one. she'd seen a friend of ours at.
This is a real dog you bought her.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a stuffed animal.
No.
Okay.
No, that would be gay.
She was pumped. Come on with that stuffy. She's like, oh, thank you, baby.
And ever since we've been together, she's wanted a pit bull, but I'd been against it. Well, I'd got her one time before, and it growled at the baby, so I got shed of it.
Did you kill it?
No. And but she had been talking about it. She's seen one of our friends have one at the Mountain Mama race, which y'all said it wasn't a pit bull. But anyhow, she's talked about that pit bull. And I come across that little pit at trade day yesterday. I said, she probably like this thing.
That's a Tuesday type thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I sent her a picture of it, and, it was all the, and yeah, I want it, and this and that, which I never told her I was getting it. That's where you get your points. You just show up with it. She about cried when I walked on the porch.
That's big, man.
And my wife don't cry.
Wow.
Yeah, she don't cry. So it made her happy.
What color is it?
It's black. Yeah.
I mean, you bring a dog home, especially the dog.
Yeah.
That your wife has been wanting, and that's her.
Yeah.
That's her way that she really receives love. I mean, that's a big one right there. That's
was a stuffed animal.
That's gonna get you. I didn't.
He
realize,
don't understand nothing I say.
I didn't realize what
he was saying. Am I talking Russian?
I mean,
here?
that's gonna get you by for a couple of months, maybe cornbread.
Yeah, maybe so.
Stuffed animal.
Maybe so.
Can you lend me a pencil?
Yeah.
What about you, Blake?
Well, Caitlin likes time, just spending time more than anything. I mean, you can get her flowers or whatever, and she'll appreciate it, but she's just spending time, intentional time, not just like being there,
Yeah.
Sending the kids off somewhere, going out to eat, doing something fun together, something like that.
Sending the kids to school.
Yeah, sending one of them to school, put the other one in the closet.
So do you guys have a format for that, to where you stay up on that?
Well, I mean, Mom and Dad actually are the ones that watch the kids the most for us. They'll watch them about any time we want. So yeah, we do. Well, they over there probably at least 2 or 3 weekends a month. So we'll have a couple days to ourselves like that pretty regularly. It's not scheduled or no certain time set, but yeah.
I mean, you think about really how important your woman is to you.
Yeah.
I'm talking about show enough. I mean, especially you guys, you know, with having the kids and coming through all that, and not that Brooke's any less important to me, but I think that just deepens it, you know, when you're actually raising a family together and go, man, I mean, when you think about how important that woman is to you, there's really no comparison on this earth. Like, I mean, what are you going to put above that woman other than your faith in the Almighty?
Right, yeah.
And it was just blowing my mind how important Brooke is to me, and I don't do nothing on a regular, intentional basis to show her how important she is.
When you're around your family, you don't appreciate them as much as when you're gone.
Yeah.
And when we go on those trips, every time we go on a basic course or something, I think, I'm going to bring we're going to come down here, we're going to hike down to the creek, and all four of us just going to stay on the creek. You know, I think that oh, man, that'd be a blast. Then you get home and you do other things and you don't ever do it. I told him when we got back, I said, well, you know, y'all just tote your clothes and a little bit of food in your sack. We'll just go down to the creek there, and we'll just camp there for a night or two, and y'all just play in the creek, and we'll just spend a couple days down there. So we'll do that this summer. I'm going to make it a point to do it. But every time we go for 30 courses, I've thought, you know, you get up there and you're like, I mean, this is really cool to get to do this, but it's even cooler to get to do it with your family.
Yeah.
Something that you enjoy, that everybody enjoys.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head for me with that, Blake, and what I'm trying to drive home is, for me personally, if I don't come up with a plan and actually make a commitment to that plan, it goes by the wayside.
Yeah.
Just because of the pace we work and this and that and everything that we do, and everybody else listens the same way. I mean, nobody's life that I know of ain't busy.
Yeah.
Everybody's life is busy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about it, and what my wife likes is like they call it acts of service. That's how she receives love. So I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I am the worst cook that I've ever known. All right, unless it's eggs.
Yeah, you're good at breakfast.
Yeah, you do a good
unless
breakfast.
It's eggs or a steak or something on the grill. But when you're talking about taking many ingredients,
like a meatloaf or something.
yeah, and seasoning them and putting all this together and this and that, I said, oh my gosh, I know what I need to do for my wife. I need to cook for her.
Cook a nasty meal.
I need to cook. I need to learn how to cook, and I need to cook one meal a week for her. Like a
bowl.
Like a show enough meal, not like a steak and a sweet potato. Like a show enough meal.
Have an appetite charcuterie board out there.
Oh, yeah, we hadn't went that far yet.
Yeah, you need an appetizer.
But I'm gonna tell you, when I realized this, I said, "Oh my gosh, this is what she would appreciate the most, is if I cooked a meal for her." And really, it is. There's nothing else that I could do for her that she would appreciate more than a really good dinner. Because she loves to cook, right? But it's time consuming. So I said, all right, this makes me nervous as crap because I don't know how I'm going to make anything taste good. I said, I'm going to go down, I'm going to cook for my wife every Tuesday night. I'm cooking every Tuesday night. Huh. And I found this guy on YouTube. I started looking. I said, okay, now I got to learn a new skill, right? I got to look up his Instagram here.
Well, that's how you do it. That's how you learn a new skill. Go to YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of cooking channels on here. I found this dude on here. His YouTube channel is Old School Soul Food. It's an old guy out in Texas, and I wanted to try my hand at a chicken vegetable soup. Never made a soup in my life. Okay?
A soup?
Ooh.
A chicken vegetable soup.
I thought you was talking about a meal.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, no. This is everything a body needs in it. I went home yesterday after I homeschooled my niece. It took me 4 hours to make this pot of soup.
That's a serious soup right there.
Soup? That's why Chad ain't got time to work, because he spends 4 hours making soup.
It took me 4 hours to make this soup.
Oh, my God.
And the whole time I was thinking, this not even no guarantee this is going to taste worth even eating.
Was it just because you didn't know what he was talking about?
No, it's because, look, I'm talking about making a meal, son. I'm talking about I had to cut up so many fresh vegetables to go in this soup. I was cutting vegetables for 45 minutes.
Well, soup meal. Another 3 hours and 15 minutes.
I had to take the look. I'm not going to tell you the whole process, but there was many steps in making this soup. Right?
It's like the easiest thing to make.
No.
Dump it in some water and turn the heat on.
No, that would taste like crap. I followed this guy's instructions. Look, this soup came out. I'm talking about off the chain, son.
Did you make cornbread too?
No, I have some fresh sourdough olive bread at the house that I sliced up, and you want to eat it with a crusty bread.
Next week, Totino's pizza rolls.
But I'm gonna tell y'all, this soup.
Don't nobody do it better than you.
I'm in.
And that's what it's called, chicken vegetable. It ain't got no fancy name.
Nope, you can look up. You can look up this guy, Old School Soul Food. He does fried pork chops, soups. He does fried chickens. He does ribs. He does it all, man. Look, and and in the description he puts out all of the steps and all of the ingredients. So when you're at the grocery store, I'm going to tell you, I did so good on this soup. I'm going to cook again tonight.
Did y'all eat all the soup?
No.
You got some?
Look, and that's another thing. I made up my mind on Tuesday nights when I cook. I'm always going to cook a meal that travels into the next day with you.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm always going to, because I'm putting so much time into this, you know what I mean?
Look, he said, all right, I'm going to start cooking. What could be these things? Like, got to be soup. And he
No.
said, oh, yeah. He said, I'm going to spend a lot of time in here, make it seem like I really, and then I'm going to play it up on the podcast.
You can ask anybody who knows how to cook a real soup from scratch.
Dad,
how long it takes.
What do you think?
I do it every week, about 20 minutes.
Well, yeah. Have you tasted his cooking?
Hey, Dad can cook.
Yeah. Look, okay, no, I'm not even going to start on that.
Put a little rat oil in it.
Anyways, the whole reason for this conversation, listeners, is to hopefully make y'all think about how important your woman is to you.
This was a waste of 15 minutes.
And then make you think about going and thinking about how you can do something to serve her, and in whatever way she receives that, to show her how important she is. And that is going to, and it's funny that Chili says that this is a waste of time.
Yeah, let me tell you why. Because I'm here my role today is to expose you and everything you're trying to do. All of this was to brag that he cooked for his wife. That's the whole point. We spent 15 minutes building this up so he could say, I made a soup and it took 4 hours. It's in the Navy SEALs. Dude. Another thing gone. What else? Go ahead and start something new. I'll expose that too.
This is the main thing I think that men struggle with is their marriage sucks, and they can't figure out why. When I think the answers are right in front of you. A lot of the times, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The answers are right in front of you, and let me tell you what: if your marriage sucks, your life is gonna suck. It just is. That's why it's so important to make investments into it, man, in my opinion.
What do you do for Courtney?
Hold on, I'm not done exposing this. I like the idea of a formatted. he wants it to be a formatted, structured thing you do for your
Think ahead.
Well, how many he said, what kind of schedule are you on, Corn, for whenever you're gonna act out? Yeah. I mean, what is that?
You know why
Corn just does it. He don't think about it.
Well, you know why I have to do that? Because it's so a lot of times my default is to just get into my own little world. And then I'll just only be thinking about what I got going on. Like I can get so into my own little world, and really that's usually where I personally am the happiest, when I'm just in there, thinking about, what do I got going on? You know what I mean? It's easy for me to live there,
Yeah.
Something.
And the next thing that I want to hammer down on today's podcast, I tell you what, there's so much value coming through on this show right here today, mainly because of you guys.
Deflection.
There's so much value coming through on this episode today. I thank the Lord that He's given us the opportunity to share these things through this podcast, and I appreciate you guys listening. But what I want to hammer down on, it has look, don't try to make this about our own problems, okay? Don't try to make this about our own stuff. I want to hammer down on the question, when is the Almighty telling you something?
Well,
okay. We're going
bring it up.
How do you make the differentiation, and how do you actually have some clarity?
I can think of a good example
on when the Almighty is telling you something.
There will be an example cited and a quotation made at some point.
That's just our own experience of a lesson we've learned on the topic. Why would we withhold that? So it's not making it about yourself or your own problems. It's just saying, well, here's what I've experienced that can relate to that question. It might help somebody. He didn't want
that example brought out.
Oh, well, it's going to be.
And I think that we've already talked about it on the podcast before of how does the Almighty communicate with His people, and primarily through the Word of God, right? Primarily through the Word of God. But I also think that, and I can't quote a scripture off the top of my head to support this, but am I right or wrong in saying that the Lord will and does, in quotations, open and close doors to guide us in a specific direction in life? Do you guys believe the Lord works that way?
Well, you're asking, do you think everything is just by chance or everything's on purpose? That's the question. I mean, it's in one or the other. It's not like He is opening and closing some doors and some things are just happen how they happen.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. It's not. I don't think it's a mix of God closed this door and then over here He just said, "Oh, I've missed that one."
Yeah, whichever you want to do. So I think it's one or the other. Mm-hmm. And I don't think things happen just by happenstance. I mean, there's enough scripture to support that. So yeah, I mean, it's getting a bit into free will. Like,
oh yeah,
what choice do you have in certain matters, or are you just being guided by these opportunities that you're able to take or not take, and you're just kind of like being headed off at the pass, and you're just following the channel. So I don't know that you can just give a definitive answer to that without really having much scripture to back it up. But
well, and this kind of maybe this will make us think even deeper about it, because I have to ask the question. I'm asking this question because how many times in our lives, or how many people listening to this, have had an idea to go a certain direction with their career, with their ministry, with something they want to do in life, and they meet resistance, and they decide to stop or change course, and they use the excuse, well, maybe that's not what the Lord wants me to do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a real conversation that I think is applicable.
Most people that say that are saying that because things have gotten harder than they want them to be, and so they're using that excuse that nobody can buck to justify their desire to quit.
Right.
That's what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's an often used kind of a thing by, Christian people.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
saying that, the Lord makes things happen for a reason. Well, a lot of times you're the reason that something ain't going the way it should be going. And that's just a big excuse to put it on the Lord. That, hey, this ain't the way I thought it was going to be, and I ain't going to even try to trudge through none of this. So I'm just going to lay back. And Lord made it that way for a reason. He must not want me to do it.
Yeah, I think it's like there can't just be the fact that this is getting harder than I want it to be, so I'm just going to stop doing it, because the Lord would not make it this hard if this is what I want it to be. But the other thing, like, there has to be other supporting evidence for that. I do think that could be the case. Yeah. You could be constantly trying to beat your head through the wall, figuratively, and just say, well, it's getting harder. This must be what the Lord wants, because life's going to be hard, so let me just keep beating it. But there could be this other thing just glaring that's also in line with, hey, it's really hard, and this over here, and I see another avenue, and maybe that's where I should go. And I don't even know that you would say that that's the Lord guiding you, but that you would just say that you missed what you should have done in the first place.
You know, when you begin a journey or a new endeavor, go ahead and realize that there are going to be unexpected obstacles placed somewhere along that path, right? And some of those obstacles can and could be insurmountable. I acknowledge that, right?
Right.
But for me, I guess if I boil all this down to the way I've been thinking about it, is as we are moving along this path, along this journey, whatever journey you're on, listener, when these unexpected obstacles come up, you, one, have to be ready to be innovative. You, two, have to be ready to do the work to either go around or through or find some other way. And you have to be willing, right? You have to be willing. And I just think that so many people have stopped in life because of this obstacle. And they stopped prior to honestly utilizing their brain and their will to exhaust the evident options. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's a very common thing. And for the Christian, usually they will fall back because of their own lack of willingness or their own lack of innovation. They will fall back to, well, it's just ain't what the Lord had for me. Sometimes it ain't what the Lord had for you. But I don't think you can make that assumption until you have exhausted your own, what you have in your own control. You see what I'm saying? And so, it's something to think about, man.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be guided by the Holy Spirit constantly, not just when things get hard or not just when things get easy.
Right.
And that's like, you can't make a determination of something just because something's hard. I think you should always be in relation and in communication with God through the Holy Spirit for life, for whatever is going on. And sometimes the path changes because of that. Not because, the path can change. What you set out to do can be different than what you end up doing. Because the thought of doing that thing started you out, and somewhere along the way, some other idea came along or something else happened, and you can, I think that those things are from the Holy Spirit in my life.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. I think it's great advice and whatnot, but I don't think we can discern how someone else is being led. It's really easy for me to say, oh, James over there, he was just completely wrong about what was going on. I don't even know why somebody would think that way. You would want to help and talk with them and be along with them, but we're really quick to jump on somebody and say, well, God didn't tell you that, or, you're not being led that way.
Yeah.
But I think you ask the questions, are you praying about it? Are you in the Word? Are you comparing it to the Word of God? And help somebody. But I don't think we should be so quick to say, now you just can't. Look, some people can use it for excuses. They can use, well, if the Lord's willing, I'll do it. And that just becomes a saying, and it's an excuse. Or people can say, the Lord might not want me to do that, or he might want somebody else, and it just becomes just a saying. But there's some people that ain't just using it for a saying. Mm-hmm. There are some people that are seeking it constantly, and we can't discern who is and who isn't. You know,
why is the advice not just seek the Lord first?
Yeah, exactly.
And not as a last resort, and not as, well, once I've exhausted all my options, then I'll go to the Lord, instead of just,
or once things get hard.
Yeah, like why are we not just? Why is it the advice not simply seek the Lord first?
Yeah.
From the beginning, then it doesn't become a matter of, well, I'm trying this option and that, and maybe I'll stop after this one because that's the first obstacle I hit, and maybe that's God telling me not to go, or the other way, of I've tried 18 different things and now I'm considering whether it's God. Why not just consider that first?
Yeah.
And be guided by that as you go through things, instead of, well, I'll either try once and quit, or I'll try 10 times and then see what the Lord wants.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
well, I think you
not that that's easy to do, but that to me, it's clear what the answer is. I think both are wrong. I think saying I'm going to try one thing, and if that don't work, I'm going to quit, because that must mean I'm not supposed to do it. Yeah. Or I also think it's wrong to go, I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to try every last available option I can to get what I think I want to do or supposed to do. And then if none of that works, then I'll say, what's up? What's up, Lord? This must not be right.
I think you're exactly right, Shirley. I think you should, everyone, before you start that journey, whatever it is, you should seek the Lord first, right? The problem is, along the way, when it gets harder, you encounter these unexpected obstacles. You begin to question, oh, well, is this really what the Lord wants me to do? And then the question becomes too, seek the Lord first. Well, what does that look like? What does that actually mean? Like, seek the Lord first. Like, what does that mean?
Well, I think it means seek the Lord always. Because the minute that you do something else.
But what does it look like to seek the Lord? Is what I'm trying to.
It means I have endless options in front of me, and I can spend my time with this, and I really want to spend it training for this, or doing this activity, or doing this that I think's fun. But instead, I want to lay that down, die to myself, and do what God actually has for me. Oh wow, it's actually evident whenever I seek Him that that's distracting me from what I'm supposed to be doing, and this is right in front of me that I should do. So
I'm going usually know.
So I'm going to do that instead. That's what it looks like to seek the Lord first. A lot of people, they get into the position you're talking about, and me too, because you're doing something that is not even aligned with what you're supposed to be doing in the first place.
I agree.
Oh, I agree. Gosh, I'm trying to run this race, and I keep, I got injured after a week, so I just quit. That's who you're talking about. What about the guy who's like, I'm trying to run this race, and, I got injured, but then I came back at it, and then my wife got sick, so I had to take a month off of training, but I got back at it. And then the race was canceled, but I signed up for another one. I got back at it. Well, what if you weren't supposed to be doing that at all in the first place? Then what good is it that you kept going and persevered, and then, instead you could have been doing the thing that you were supposed to, being led by God right off the bat, and then if you experienced an obstacle right off the bat in that way, then you can pause again, you continue seeking the Lord and saying, well, I'm doing this because of the direction I thought I had, and not my own desire to do it. And then, I agree with you. You should probably keep going then, unless something drastic changes that path. But I also don't think it's wrong to try something. You hit one obstacle and you go, "Whoa, this may have been off from the get-go. Let me reset here."
Yeah. I think for the conversation to be even applicable, you have to start with the assumption that you did seek the Lord first. And I would say when we're looking, for me personally, my understanding of what does that look like, you have endless options. What does it look like to seek the Lord? For me personally, that is seeking Him in His holy word in Scripture. That is, for me, my understanding of seeking the word or the Lord. And I think also through prayer, but I think that the Lord speaks to me. When I seek the Lord in prayer, he answers me through the understanding of his Scripture, through a clearer understanding of his Scripture. You know what I mean? And what is the Lord asking us to do? And I try to bring this whole conversation in my mind. I'm just like tossing it around, thinking about like the biggest example for me in my life, or the most clear and distinct example, is when I tried to become a SEAL, and I encountered an unexpected obstacle, which is which was a heart condition, but it's so strange to apply this to my life back then, because I wasn't seeking the Lord on whether or not I should go and become a SEAL. That wasn't a part of my thought process back then. You know what I mean? It was just my own desire. But then at the same time, I also must believe that it was the Lord's will for me to go and do that, even though I wasn't seeking him on that, or it's tough to think about, like what was going on there.
Yeah.
But I encountered this unexpected obstacle, and when I did, I didn't just give up on that direction right off the bat. It was hard and it sucked, and I thought about giving up on it, but ultimately I didn't.
You want to tie it all back together?
Yeah, it's tough,
if
man.
you want to tie it all back around, if you're trying to seek the Lord legitimately and genuinely, and you still go, well, I can do 18 million different things with my time that all seem good. Well, what do? Do something. Don't be stagnant. If you were trying to seek the Lord, but you still go, but I still don't know exactly specifically what that means. Like, I know kind of this is right and this is good and this would be good, but he hasn't spoken and said, do this with your time. Well, then do something. Do what you know is in alignment, even if it's not the perfect thing, because you haven't, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to get these clear instructions.
Yeah.
Don't wait for the perfect time. Do something. And then by just taking action in alignment with what you know is right, I think you will find more answers than you would just sitting there and waiting. That goes back to that first conversation, Bubba.
Well, and you're bringing this really down to the practical level right now, Chili, because you're right. Even when you have been seeking the Lord in his word and you come to that determination of, okay, this is who the Lord has called me to be, well, then you say, well, what is the conduit for me to be able to live this out in my life? What is the activity, right, that I'm doing with my time? I love when we develop the mission statement in the proving grounds, because one of the things that helps us choose the activity or the conduit to allow all this to flow through is looking at ourselves and what are our competencies. And your competency is actually a gift from the Lord. He has created you to be good at something, right? And that, looking at that, I think is a piece that can help you practically choose or practically move in the direction.
And a lot of people should start where they're already at, because they're probably working a job as you're talking about this, and they don't feel like it's fulfilling. So they say, well, what is the avenue? I'm searching for that other avenue that, like, it must be to go do this. Well, what about using your competencies where you're at?
Man,
why don't you start there? Just start. Yeah. Just start. It goes back to what the first conversation was. Instead of waiting for it to be perfect, just start. It may not be the right ultimate answer, but that's how you get started, because you are somewhere, so use it there.
Well, you had to be faithful with little. That's Scripture. He is faithful with little, will be faithful with much. So who's going to be given much? But, they say, well, what I have, I'm waiting to get to that point.
Yeah.
And God's not going to give it to you till you're faithful with what you've got.
And if you feel like your competency is speaking words to other people and leading other people or whatever specific thing it could be, I mean, you know how many different things there are that people could be good at and could be used. Well, most people, oftentimes, that's probably what you will get from the Lord, or what will be revealed to you, is what you're good at, not how you're going to use it. But some people, that's where you get yourself involved, and you go, so that means I'm supposed to use this like on big stages and stuff. Like I'm good at speaking and using my words and articulating things and helping people understand and teaching. So that means like I'm gonna be a big teacher and preacher. Like I got to get out of this office so I can go do that. And it's like, hey man, all that's been revealed to you is you're good at speaking. Nobody said nothing about you're destined for some big Billy Graham life.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you might should try to use it where you're at.
Yeah.
That might be all that you're ever supposed to do with it. And that seems small to you, but it's not small.
That's true.
I don't know. I
remember when I was working at TEC and I guess sick of working there. And I think we might have, maybe, I don't even know if we'd started 307 yet, but obviously didn't have the desire to be there, really to be doing what we're doing now. And I remember that's what Paul Wilder told me at one point. I was talking to him, and he said, well, he that's faithful with little will be faithful much, or he that's faithful with that which is another man's be faithful with that which is his. And so I just started a Bible study there at TEC, and, 1 or 2 weeks or days a week we would meet up at Chick-fil-A, and I would just lead the people through a Bible study, and there ended up actually being a lot of people come to it. And so you just have to, that's just my experience validating Chili's point, that you just got to start where you're at with what you have, do what you know with what you have where you're at to the best that you can do it.
And man, when I see people that are doing that, to me, it is the most inspiring thing to watch. I have a good friend named David Charbonnet. Many of you guys listening to the podcast know who David is. David and 2 other guys run a Bible study for the Buds guys at the Naval Special Warfare Compound on Coronado Island. They run this Bible study for these guys week in and week out, and I got to attend the other day. And there were like 5 or 6 people show up. And nearly every one of them were guys who had quit. There was hardly a single, there might have been one there that was still in Buds. The rest of them were all quitters. But he's driving an hour from his house to host this Bible study for a bunch of dudes that have already quit, or a few dudes who have already quit. And he's doing this week in and week out with no acknowledgement, with no big crowd. It's not really growing. It's just a few guys there. And I'm like, wow, you drive all the way down here to serve these few people that are never even going to become SEALs? Like, I'm like, wow. Because when you have a big platform, or you have a big audience, or you have a big crowd, it's rewarding. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I am good. I am important. What I have to say is important, right? You're getting this feedback and this acknowledgement, but man, when you're running a little Bible study for TEC and only 2 or 3 guys show up, or you're running some sort of ministry for the Buds guys, and the only people that show up is a few dudes that quit, You're doing that week in and week out. I'm like, this is it right here, son. Like, this is true. This is true, like, serving others with zero expectations. Like, this is what counts. You know, there's so many things we do in life that are good, but they don't really count because you're doing them with an expectation for some sort of feedback or return on your investment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the most inspiring thing to me is when I see people doing exactly what you guys are talking about. They're doing something where they are. Doesn't matter if it grows, doesn't matter if 2 people show up, but you're doing what you can where you're at with what the Lord has given you to work with.
Yeah.
Right? So don't any of you guys take that for granted, man. We all have that opportunity. And don't think that you're less because that's what you're doing.
Or base it on the success.
You're actually more
of what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
what's happening.
With what Blake just said, I mean, you probably can't speak in absolutes, but a lot of people assign that it was not what God would have for them if they had done it for 5 years and it's still only 5 guys that quit. That ain't really, I don't want to speak in absolutes, but that's probably not ever going to be a sign that means you shouldn't be doing it. Just because there's only been 3-4 guys for 5 years, it's not growing at all, so that must mean this is... Don't discount those 3 or 4 guys.
I agree, man.
I mean, I'm just saying, maybe it is. Maybe you shouldn't be doing it, but like, I don't think that's going to ever be a sign that you shouldn't just because it's not growing like you want it to.
Well, I've cited Noah several times, but Noah shared what God told him for 120 years, and how many people got on the boat.
Oh, yeah.
How many people said, you know, that guy's right.
Ain't nobody getting on the boat. I must be off.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, nobody's listening.
It ain't raining either.
Yeah, is this really what God told me? Like, I've been building this boat
I live
for
in a
50
desert.
years. So
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, 100 years in, I would have said, it ain't freaking rained yet.
yeah,
This is not
That's
good.
That's a great example, Blake.
Yeah.
That's a great example,
not
man.
good.
yeah. There's another Old Testament prophet. I can't remember who it is, but he preached and shared the message God gave him for like 28 years, and the Bible says not one came to repentance. He did it for 28. I mean,
yeah. So he must have been doing the wrong thing, you know.
Yeah. He had to have thought like.
Yeah, and I think there's so many examples that, especially looking at the Old Testament, it made me think about Elijah. You know, when he was being run down and there was even a time he said, "Look, I'm the only one left. I'm doing this for no reason. Just go ahead and kill me." Remember, he lay down under a bush and he was ready to die. He said, "Look, I'm the only one that's left even cares about any of this stuff."
Yeah.
This is where
he was wrong.
This is where talking about living to a standard and not a result really actually matters. I mean, it matters in a race that we talk about, you know. Well, dang, I got halfway through and knew I wasn't going to win, but I kept working, you know, to finish.
Yeah.
I mean, that matters, but what really matters is, dang, I got 5 years into this ministry and there's 3 people in it, so crap.
Yeah.
Not that guaranteed you should continue it. Maybe you're being called to something else, but the fact that 3 people are there is not a reason.
You're right.
To end
You're
it.
right.
I mean, that's the whole result mindset of, you know, I'm not going to win anymore, so.
That's the reason to keep going if 3 people are there.
Yeah.
That's 3 people. I mean,
it's very counter message though. You know what I mean?
well, if you hear 2 pastors talking,
You've said this so many times, Blake.
what do they say to each other?
The first thing.
What do they ask?
You got.
Yep.
And how many got saved at that last event y'all had?
Yep. Yep. It's all about numbers. They're sizing them up. putting them in this box. It's always not very successful. Or mine's more successful than yours.
Yeah.
Good stuff, boys. I appreciate that, man. I enjoyed that conversation. I do want to get around to seeing what our Patreon question of the week is for this week, though, Cornbread.
Absolutely. This comes from Nick Gerber. I'm looking to buy a new four-wheeler. I'd love to hear you guys talk about your favorite ones over the years and what brands you trust the most.
We were just talking about Nick Gerber.
We sure were.
Coming home from
LPO.
the basic goal. Yeah.
Oh, Nick, man.
He said he's a Honda man.
Oh, Nick. That's a good dude right there.
Yeah.
Well, hey, that's an easy question to ask, Nick, or to answer, and you're already in the right direction. Honda. Honda is the Toyota of the four-wheeler world, all right? You will not catch me buying any four-wheeler but a Honda. And them old ones,
Yeah.
that Honda, what's it called, a Recon, I think, or
4Tracks, yours?
it may be a 4Tracks, yeah. It's a 350. It's the same ones that Don Tidwell had.
300.
Don Tidwell had two of them. And we used them on the farm when I was growing up. They sat outside, never once had an oil changed, never once had a maintenance done. They last forever. And it's like you just can't kill them, man. They're getting hard to find, though.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about the new Hondas. The newest, well, we do. We have a newer Honda, is it a Rancher?
Yeah.
A newer Honda Rancher. That's a good machine.
I'll say the Kawasaki Bayou 220 is pretty tough.
Buddy, we have ragged a Bayou out.
Chad sunk it totally underwater in the creek so much the seat popped off and floated to the top. And we drug it out and stood it up on its back tires and just pressed the starter until it blowed about 3 gallons of water out of the fuel pipe. And then he drove it home, man. It smoked like a just like a freight train the whole way home. Wouldn't go about 10 miles an hour. But it finally burned all that water out.
Dang.
The Kawasaki Bayou is a good one.
Yeah.
The Bayou is a good one. But Honda, man, you're already moving in the right direction. Get you a Honda. You can't go wrong.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got to hit the head real quick, boys.
Honda.
Go hit it.
What kind of four-wheeler you ride, Chili?
Hold on. I don't know what I had when I was a youth, and I wrecked it so many times. And one time I flipped it over on myself, and gas was pouring out. I don't know what that was. I was a youth one, you know. I was a tiny.
I've never owned a four-wheeler.
Really?
No.
Can-Am makes a good machine, too. They're newer, got more technology and stuff to them. They're not as reliable, but if you
want a good four-wheeler?
Yeah, if you want the technology and stuff, and Can-Am's good.
I bought the boys a little Polaris 90 when they was little. I'd get out there and ride on that thing, boy.
Your big tail get on that 90?
Oh, yeah. It told
That's
me
back
to.
when you was big.
Oh, yeah, I was real big in, about
350.
You were riding a 90?
Yeah, I've never personally owned one, but I bought the boys a Polaris 90. When they wasn't riding it, I'd get out there and tool down to the chicken pen.
I don't know about the Polaris, the old Polaris Sportsman, they come out with that belt drive automatic transmission.
They used to be junk.
I would stay away from an automatic transmission too. Personally. I mean, if you're talking about something that you really going to run hard.
Yeah, it depends on what you're going to do.
I like to have a shifter.
If you're going out to ride these trails and go to these parks and stuff, a Honda's not going to be your favorite machine.
Then Polaris has got that figured out.
Yeah.
All that side-by-side technology and all that.
But I'd have a Can-Am before I had a Polaris.
Would you?
Yeah.
Side-by-side?
Wouldn't you, Dad?
We got a Can-Am at the house. We got a Can-Am four-wheeler at the house.
Blakely's got one, too.
Four-wheeler.
Yeah. That thing has had troubles.
Your Can-Am?
Yeah, it has had troubles.
Really?
Yeah, it somehow was getting water into the belt drive. I don't know if the gasket came loose on. Surely it has a gasket on it somewhere.
What's that one y'all got with the mirrors on it?
Gotta
Them
have a
was
gasket.
good.
Oh, dude, I don't even know what those are called. That's some off-brand. We bought those in 2021 or 2022 during the scamdemic when there were no four-wheelers to be purchased. Yeah. Y'all remember that when there were no cars?
Couldn't
the
get
car
anything.
lots were empty.
The chips.
No plywood.
Yeah. No wood. Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not really over trade day pit yet.
Anyway. I didn't even know you bought a new dog, CB.
Trade day pip.
Chili, you got anything good from the news this week? Anything good went on?
Well, Joe Biden was diagnosed with prostate cancer.
I heard about that, man. I bet like a bad, advanced
Bad case.
stage of it, right?
Y'all buying that?
Well, I mean, I could see it.
Can you see that it got to this stage 9 or whatever they're calling it?
Stage 9?
Yeah, whatever.
There was only 4 stages.
Whatever. Well, he's got to stage 9, whatever they're calling it, and they didn't know that while he was president, getting all these
that's a good point.
routine screenings.
I actually
Are you
saw.
joking?
I actually saw a clip of him speaking up in Delaware, and he was talking about how dirty the air and the water was. And he said this is the reason why I and so many others have cancer. And this was, I assume, years ago. I saw that clip on Instagram where he let that slip.
Well, they're saying he's got prostate cancer stage 9, just found out. And they're explaining how they didn't know when he was in office. I mean, my rudimentary understanding of prostate cancer is like he's probably had that for years and years. For it
They
to
were
have
just
gotten this
sweeping
bad.
that under the rug, yeah.
You think they didn't tell him, or he just wasn't talking about it? What are you saying?
I mean, I'm saying he's had it for a long time. They've known it, but now there's some reason that they're saying, "Good night. We just found this out. It's bad."
He's on his way out.
And we had no idea. What would the reasons be that they hid it? Well, it probably just added to the cover up of his entire mental health. I mean, his entire health status.
Right.
I mean, he was a freaking zombie for 4 years as the president, and they probably just wanted it to stay under wraps that we didn't know he had anything. It turns out we just found this, and maybe now you can go, maybe that's why he was having some troubles, is because we didn't even know about this, but dang.
Maybe that's why they had that stand-in for him.
That body double?
That looked like him, yeah.
That body double was
With the
tall.
earlobes attached.
That body double was a big guy.
It was as evil as that man must be. It was painful to watch and listen to him.
Yeah, he ain't evil no more. He's brain dead.
Yeah,
I
I think he was a pretty wicked person. Just if you look at the things that he advocated for.
Track record.
Right.
Have you ever stopped and considered that? I mean, we've talked about our theories, and my theory of how the ruling class representatives of the country are all puppets. But I mean, why can we not fully express how insane it was that a Alzheimer's patient was the president for 4 years? Like, we don't act like that's as crazy as it is.
You just move along. Just move along.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Anyway, we just kind of go, well.
But he was duly elected.
Yeah.
The people elected him.
Well, moving on to our current president, Donald Trump has lots of big things going. Tax cuts are coming down the pipe, he said.
More bread? More breadcrumbs?
Tax cuts, man. We're going to cut them, and they're the Republicans got the House and the Senate. They unifying. They saying we're going to pass them things.
No tax on OT.
We'll
no
see.
Tax on tips.
We'll see.
About to be a waiters at Chili's, boy.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
He's also ramping up the defense of the U.S. in case we get attacked. Have you ever stopped and wondered why Israel has the most sophisticated defense system of any country, and it was all paid for by us, and we don't have it?
Yeah.
It's an interesting question. Well, we basically funded the entirety of the Iron Dome that protects Israel, and now Trump says we're about to have that too, the Golden Dome.
Well, we're entering the golden age at some point.
The Golden Dome. Okay. And he's commissioned, I wasn't going to announce this, but since you felt bold enough to announce the Navy SEALs, I did want to say that he has commissioned me as the head of the Space Force to head up the construction of the Golden Dome.
Golden Dome? Good. Where are you going to find time to do that, Chili?
So the branch responsible is the Space Force, and, of course, me as the head. I actually kind of like this job because it gets us out of this outer space, which is fake, by the way, and lets us do something real on the ground, some real defense. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be hard, but...
Are you going to partner with the SEALs?
No, the Navy SEALs aren't going to be involved in this.
They're not?
No, the Navy SEALs will get involved if we ever, go to war. Yeah, we'll get involved, but... Yeah. No, they don't.
Is it going to include the barrier islands that we own, but don't want to be states like Puerto Rico?
We haven't. We don't have confirmation from Donald yet.
Okay.
I don't know. It's
you
definitely
going.
You don't want to be a state. You're not in the Golden Dome.
You know what I've never really stated this before, but you know what I think Donald Trump is.
He's a riverboat casino.
I think I can sum him up.
I mean, what do you mean? What is he?
In one compound word: windbag. I think Donald Trump is a windbag.
He's like a carnival barker. I mean, he's a casino captain. He's the guy that goes out and is like, "Ha, let's make some money." I mean, he's just a dude, who's getting rich, and
he's a cat.
He is a cat.
You talk about defense, national defense, Chili, and how he's ramping that up, and it just made me think, man, I see these clips online all the time of what these cats over in the Ukraine are doing with these dang drones.
Yeah,
like warfare now looks nothing like it looked when I was in the military. It's like. It has totally changed. Like, I don't know how they're training for this or how this has changed up their tactics, but I'm going to tell you right now, these cats are, with these little drones, are just dumping some havoc on people, man. And it's like you can't really hear them. You can't see them coming. They're unmanned, so you're not putting any human life at risk. But, dude... they are wrecking some folks, man.
They got guns on them?
They literally strap warheads to these things, and they'll just run them into vehicles.
Yeah.
Like they've got them to where they're dropping bombs with them. They're dropping dang thermite grenades on people. I mean, they're like raining down on some folks, and there's obviously the pilots behind the screen, so you're putting no human life at risk. I imagine you can't detect these things. They just drop in on you, and you're screwed, man. I wonder where, like, the next big the whole thing with Russia and Ukraine is a pretty big conflict. It's like, I don't know, man. It's gonna look it's looking a lot different.
Yeah, definitely. The future of warfare is to just let the AI robots hash it out.
Yeah, that's what's coming.
Just leave the humans out of it. Why we got to die?
Who can build the better bot?
They got all the missiles and the drones and everything, the jets that can fly themselves all hooked up to it and say, this is our objective right here. Go.
Yeah, man.
Battleship.
Why you even got to die? Just let the AI robots hash it out.
Right.
Anyway.
But it's crazy because the main cost of warfare is human life.
Not no more.
So like when you take that out of the equation, like I think it more looks like leveraging these robots and drones and stuff to like take human life. Like,
now, what I'm saying is once the Earth is depopulated, then you'll see the AI robots hash it out. Yeah, like the agenda is to depopulate the Earth. So we'll get there through many means. But then once you're down to the bare bones society, and you just let the AI robots do any fighting.
Isn't the human race already in population decline? Are we there yet?
I didn't realize how many people believe that the current population is way less than 8 billion like they say it is.
Jeff mentioned that the other day, yeah.
Oh, that's big. I don't have any knowledge about that, but
I think the birthing rate in the United States was way down.
Nobody's having kids anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they are, it's just one. I mean, it's got to be in decline, I would think. Just looking around me.
Dog parks are going up, though.
Don't get me started on that.
You gotta have them.
Lastly, I did want to cover Trump is the social media president, and he had Theo Vaughn introduce him with a comedy set when he visited Qatar or Qatar.
Theo was in Qatar? Really?
And he did a 20-minute set to introduce Tom.
Bread and circus.
How did they laugh? Oh, ha, 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 ha. Did they laugh at him?
He was a little uncomfortable, but he had some jokes hit.
Being in the midst of all those American
He said he thought everybody
there.
over there looked hot because they had all those clothes on. He said it's 115 degrees and y'all are wearing wedding dresses. It's pretty funny to me, but I don't know.
He allowed that to him? Yeah. I wonder they chop his hand off.
We are to the point where a comedian is introducing the president of the United States.
It was in
overseas.
front of a bunch of military personnel.
Wow.
And he did 20 minutes and introduced Trump. But the big news from Qatar is that they have presented Donald Trump with a jet. Mm-hmm. Private jet.
A nice one.
A nice one.
Did he accept?
He has accepted. And everybody's mad that he's accepted. It's a gift. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Turn down a gift?
Did you see where he posted that picture of him as the Pope and everybody was all mad about it?
Trump did?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there was like an AI-generated photo of him as the Pope.
Oh, man.
And
he posted it?
He posted on the White House page, and everybody was ticked about it. And he was talking about, like, I didn't make the photo.
He's a troll, man. Like, he's just a troll.
Yeah.
And he gets people mad. But yeah, there is dispute about whether Qatar offered that as a free gift or not, or if they have some
bribe,
or if they have some expectation.
I'm sure they just did it out of the kindness of their heart.
It was it $400 million jet?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That ain't nothing.
That's why you got to build that golden dome. Park that jet under there, son.
That ain't nothing.
Anyway, just interesting. Lots of
controversy. How much longer is all this going to last?
That's up to Jesus.
Well, at least until Trump's out. I mean, we know we're good till then.
There's no more elections.
This was the last election for Christians.
Well,
That's what he
also
said.
allowed the last pope was supposed to have been the last pope.
No,
It wasn't supposed to be
now Leo's the last one.
Oh, okay.
The other guy died prematurely.
Yeah, I just can't believe this is all going to last a whole lot longer. We'll see, though.
Maybe surprised.
Well, I mean, maybe we'll see. You know, who knows? You never know when you're gonna be saying bye to this place. CB, you got anything for us?
Man, Georgia's been drab here the last few weeks. Not much news. 2 confirmed tornadoes last night in Chattooga County.
Really?
One in Tryon and one in Menlo. Yeah.
Dang.
Multiple houses damaged, power out, of course, trees down. I think the one in Menlo might have been a little bit worse than the one in Tryon. No deaths.
Like 5
That's
people
good.
that live in Menlo.
Yeah.
Did y'all see that big tornado that tore up St. Louis?
I did. That thing was humongous, Lord.
I saw Andy Frisella posted a picture of it. He took a picture of it. You know, it was back in the background from their HQ there at First Form. Looked like that jacked some stuff up, boy.
Yeah, tornadoes are bad.
A tornado drops on your head, son. you done had a bad day.
Well, Georgia's well out of tornado season right now. It's usually the first week of April.
Really?
Yeah, through about the middle of April. That's our peak season. Now, I mean, we could have one any time, but it's rare to have this many in May.
The storms have been bad.
Yeah, it's that
thunderstorms.
It's that polar vortex.
And
Donald Trump needs to get a hold to that polar vortex and keep it up there where it belongs.
Creation itself is groaning. See that? Oh, my word. He sure did post that, didn't he?
Trump is the Pope.
All right. good looking post.
Creation itself is groaning.
Yeah.
Man.
That's for certain. We got super chats, right, Blake? Yep. You guys don't forget about the 3 of 7 Comms check coming up on Patreon on Monday. And again, Barbell Apparel is bringing this episode to you this week. We're about to hit our super chats, if we got any.
Yeah, you know Marty Bingham. He's always here.
Oh, Lord.
I remember him.
He came in at $9.99. Watching Chad trying to get 10 gallons of hind end into a 5-gallon kayak tells me that he needs to add a can of lard to his packing list. He's going to get stuck without some grease.
What? How did Marty see a picture of me trying to get in a kayak?
I posted one on Patreon.
Is that on Patreon?
Yeah.
Okay.
2, he come in at $4.99. I can tell you up front that David is going to have his hands full pulling the Crisco kid down the Yukon River. I feel bad for him already.
Oh my God. Marty, you old freaking geezer, man.
Then he come back in at $9.99. David should put Hollywood up front so he can watch him. Otherwise, he will be taking selfies and doing kayak talks the whole trip. That's the truth.
Marty's on you, bub. You might have to even up with him.
I'll see him again.
Lunch lady arms is one of the best insults.
Well, I'll see you again, Marty. You just keep taking pictures.
We had Paula Skeen come in at $1.99. Chad is flustered again.
Yeah. You know what I got to say about that. It's Paula Screen.
Thank you, Paula.
Little Virgil come in at 99¢.
Oh, my gosh. Little Virgil's back?
With that coin emoji with the star on it.
Yeah, I knew
he was gone for a while.
He was. It's sad.
LV must have found his way over to the new channel.
Paula Skeen come back in at $4.99. Always fun to poke the old bull a little and get him worked up. Appreciate y'all. I know it's Wednesday, but love Monday meeting.
Paula doubling down.
Paula Skeen.
What's the last name?
What's one name? Pauleskine. Paula Skeen.
Okay.
Y'all can call him Paula if you want.
Coming in with $4.99.
Put that on your mortgage. Aaron Brown coming at $4.99 said, "Good night."
There you go.
Is that the mailman?
Yep.
Yeah.
What's up, mailman?
Little Virgil come in at 99¢, and he retracted his message.
I don't blame him. Yeah. That coin with that star, there wasn't no sense in that anyway.
No. Gatekeeper Radio 347 coming in at $1.99. It ain't raining yet. It ain't raining yet.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
Huh.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gatekeeper.
Something to think about.
Thank you, Gatekeeper.
Red Lightning coming at $4.99. No message.
Red Lightning.
Thank you, Davis.
Weiniger. Thank you, Davis.
Millstone Rescue and Relief, $20. I love this conversation. I question constantly if I'm doing what God has called me to do. Love y'all.
Thank you.
Tom Brannon, $20. My neighbor had one of his calves escape. We had a full search party out into the night with no sighting of the little cow. I went home and prayed that God would help me find her. He came back in at $20 and said, I had a dream that night. I clearly saw the cow in a spot in the woods that I know well from hunting. I sprung out of bed in the morning and made a beeline to that spot, and she was there. Praise be to God.
That's wild.
Well, I think you're getting a little bit crazy with that now, but
That's wild.
Thank you, Tom.
TB.
Yankee of the Year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
know, Tom said on the ROP course that time, who was it that asked him? He thought
Will?
that was a little bit, that might think that's a little bit weird.
Uh-huh.
He said, yeah, a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's what Chad's saying here.
you're taking that a little far, Tom. Maybe you ought to stick to delivering mail.
What?
Tom don't deliver mail. But he could.
Well, maybe you ought to start.
He'd be a good mailman for sure.
Yeah. Millstone Rescue and Relief come back in at $20. My coffee donation for Pops. I know it takes a lot to keep these boys headed in the right direction. Seriously, you have to be a proud papa.
Papa.
James don't even drink coffee.
Papoose.
A papacy.
The papacy.
Look, if y'all are so poor, you can't even come in with a super chat above $20.
Good.
You can go dig a daggone hole, put your dang head in a hole, because you're just going to be poor the rest of your life.
Dude.
Enough said.